It began with a strange signal. At first, it seemed like just another cosmic anomaly, something scientists would shrug off as yet another unknown phenomenon from the vast universe. But Dr. Eva Rice, a leading scientist in the field of alien communication, was not so quick to dismiss it. She had been tracking cosmic signals for years and had learned to spot patterns in the noise. The signal wasn't random. It had structure, meaning. It came from deep space, far beyond where human spacecraft had ever gone. The signal was a pattern of numbers and frequencies, and it wasn't just a simple message. It was a call. It was like a challenge, a warning. Dr. Rice immediately alerted the Global Defense Command, GDC, but most of them dismissed it as nothing more than space static. It was only after a few days, when the signal became stronger, that they finally took it seriously. Something was out there. Something was coming. A new arrival. As Earth's leaders scrambled to decode the message, something happened that no one expected. On the night of March 17th, as the world's most powerful telescopes focused on the unknown source of the signal, a massive fleet appeared on Earth's radar. At first, the GDC thought it was an asteroid or a passing comet, but it was far too large, far too controlled. This was no natural object. These were ships, hundreds of them, silently drifting toward Earth, blocking out the stars in their wake. Dr. Rice was one of the first to understand the true scope of what they were facing. "This is not just a visit," she told General Malik, the leader of Earth's military forces. "This is an invasion." But the aliens didn't attack immediately. They simply hovered in space, just beyond Earth's orbit. It was as though they were waiting, observing, calculating. And that's when the message came. The ultimatum. The message was transmitted directly to Earth's governments. There was no mistake this time. It was clear. The alien fleet's leader, who called himself Tarek, issued a simple but terrifying statement. "Surrender now, or face complete destruction. You have 72 hours. There were no demands for resources, no strange request for Earth's soil or water. The aliens weren't interested in Earth's wealth. They had a different reason for coming. They were preparing to destroy the planet." Dr. Rice worked around the clock with teams of scientists and engineers, attempting to decipher the alien message and understand what they were facing. But the more they uncovered, the more terrifying it became. The aliens' technology was far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. Their weapons, their ships, their knowledge. They were unstoppable. And worse still, they knew Earth's every move before it happened. Humanity's first response. The world's leaders convened in an emergency meeting. Earth's unity was tested for the first time since the Great Peace had been achieved. Leaders who had once been enemies now stood together, faces grim, aware that their future was uncertain. General Malik stood before the United Nations, his voice steady but filled with urgency. "We cannot sit back and wait for them to strike. If we do nothing, Earth will be destroyed. We have to prepare for war." But not everyone agreed. Some world leaders argued that humanity should try to communicate further, to reason with the invaders, to understand why they wanted to destroy Earth. But Dr. Rice knew better. The message was clear. The aliens weren't interested in negotiating. They had made their choice, and so had Earth. It was a choice for survival. "We must fight back," Dr. Rice said, her voice filled with resolve. "We may not be as advanced as they are, but we have one thing they don't: our will to survive." The gathering storm. In the days that followed, Earth's military and scientific teams scrambled to develop a defense. It wasn't enough to rely on the old methods. The alien ships were impenetrable. Nothing Earth had could match their power. But Dr. Rice had an idea, something that had been buried in Earth's archives for years. Old, hidden technology from past civilizations. Ancient weapons that could perhaps level the playing field. But these weapons were buried deep within the Earth, hidden from the world for centuries. Finding them would be a race against time, and every second counted. General Malik knew that Earth's survival depended on what Dr. Rice could uncover. Meanwhile, the alien fleet continued to hover, waiting, watching. The 72-hour countdown ticked down, and Earth was left with one choice: to fight or to perish. The countdown. On the final day, just hours before the deadline, Dr. Rice discovered something chilling. The alien ships had begun to move. They were not just hovering anymore. They were positioning themselves for an attack. Their weapons powered up, ready to unleash their destructive force. The people of Earth were left with only one question: was humanity ready to face the unknown? Dr. Rice and General Malik stood side by side, watching the sky. "We may not have a choice," Malik said, his voice grim. "But we'll show them just how far we're willing to go." As the alien fleet advanced, humanity prepared for its final stand. The world was holding its breath. The 72-hour deadline set by the alien fleet had passed. Humanity's leaders sat in their fortified command centers, eyes glued to monitors, waiting for the inevitable. Across the globe, citizens gathered in fear, unsure of what the coming hours would bring. The peaceful world that Earth had once been was now gone, replaced by a grim reality. War was upon them. But humanity wasn't ready. Earth's military forces were nothing compared to the might of the Xarnith fleet, the alien race that had come to Earth with only one goal: destruction. Their ships loomed in orbit, silent and terrifying, waiting to release the unimaginable force of their weapons on the defenseless planet below. Dr. Ray's discovery. Dr. Eva Rice had spent the past few days analyzing the alien technology. She knew their weapons were capable of destroying entire cities with one shot. The Xarnith ships were almost invulnerable to human firepower, and no one on Earth had any idea how to fight back. But deep within her, a flicker of hope remained. The old file, the one she had found in the government's secret archives, kept haunting her. It spoke of an ancient power, a weapon that humanity had long forgotten. This weapon wasn't anything like the advanced alien technology, but it held a mystical energy that could potentially match the strength of the invaders. There was only one problem. The weapon had been hidden for centuries. No one knew where it was. Not even the highest-ranking officials in Earth's military had any clue about its existence. But Dr. Rice believed it was real. She had to find it. The journey to the ruins. Dr. Rice reached out to General Malik, the leader of Earth's united military forces, with an urgent request. The ancient weapon could be Earth's last hope, but finding it would take time, and they couldn't afford to waste any more of it. She proposed a plan to travel to a long-forgotten ruin buried deep within the mountains, a place where ancient civilizations had once thrived. It was said that the weapon was buried beneath the ruins, hidden for protection. At first, General Malik hesitated. The alien fleet had already begun its assault, firing warning shots into Earth's atmosphere. Cities across the world had already been wiped out by their laser beams. There was no time to search for an old, mythical weapon. But Malik knew that Earth's military forces were weak. If humanity had any hope of surviving this war, it was in Dr. Ray's hands. Together, they assembled a team of the best soldiers, archaeologists, and engineers. They boarded a high-tech military transport and set off for the ancient site, hidden in the remote mountains of South America. The alien assault intensifies. As Dr. Rice and her team made their way to the ruins, the world was falling apart. Earth's cities had turned into war zones. The Xarnith fleet continued to hover above, releasing devastating blasts of energy onto major cities: New York, Paris, Tokyo, and London, all reduced to rubble. Humanity was on the edge of extinction. But even as Earth was being decimated, something else was happening. General Malik's forces, though vastly outgunned, refused to back down. They were determined to fight. Every soldier, every civilian who could pick up a weapon, was taking a stand. There were reports of small victories as humans managed to damage parts of the alien ships, but they were few and far between. The resistance was growing, and the Xarnith could no longer dismiss Earth as weak. But it wasn't enough. Humanity needed something more. Entering the ruins, Dr. Ray's transport finally landed in a secluded valley surrounded by jagged mountains. The ruins stood there, silent and forgotten by time. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and history. They moved cautiously, knowing that every step brought them closer to their goal and deeper into the unknown. The ruins were older than any civilization known to mankind, filled with strange symbols and carvings. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the ruins, the team found the entrance to a hidden chamber. It was buried beneath a stone temple, ancient beyond imagination. The air grew colder as they descended, the walls lined with symbols that seemed to pulse with a strange energy. Dr. Rice felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up as they approached the final chamber. The room was vast, its ceiling stretching far above them, and at the center stood an altar. Atop it rested a massive stone orb, glowing with a faint light. This was the weapon. Dr. Rice was the first to approach it, her hand trembling as she reached for the orb. The energy inside it was unlike anything she had ever felt, raw, ancient, and powerful. But just as her fingers brushed the stone, a loud crash echoed through the chamber. The walls began to shake. The Xarneth close in. The Xarneth had found them. Without warning, a barrage of energy blasts rained down on the ruins. The chamber was collapsing. Rocks fell from the ceiling, and dust filled the air. The team scrambled to escape as the ancient weapon pulsed with energy, seemingly awakening after centuries of slumber. General Malik's voice crackled through the comms. "Dr. Reyes, get out of there. The Xarneth are here. The fleet is closing in." Dr. Reyes had no time to think. With a single command, she activated the device, and the stone orb flared to life, sending out a shockwave of energy that caused the walls to tremble. The explosion of energy was so powerful that the very ground beneath them shook. It was as though the weapon was awakening, responding to the danger that threatened the world. The team barely escaped the ruins as the ancient chamber collapsed, the orb still glowing brightly in Dr. Ray's hands. They ran toward their transport, knowing that this weapon might be the only chance they had left. A new hope. As the team made its way back to Earth's command center, Dr. Reyes realized that the weapon wasn't just a physical object. It was something more. It was a force of will, a manifestation of humanity's defiance. It had been hidden for centuries, but now it was Earth's to wield. Earth's military forces were readying themselves for one last battle. The Xarneth had underestimated humanity. They thought the planet was weak, but they had no idea what was coming. In the distance, the alien fleet loomed larger, and the countdown to Earth's final stand was about to begin. Dr. Reyes held the orb tightly, knowing that Earth's last hope rested in their hands. She turned to General Malik and said, "It's time. Let's show them what humanity can do." The alien fleet hung above Earth like a dark, menacing shadow. Cities around the world lay in ruins, their once proud structures now nothing more than smoldering remnants of what they had been. The Xarneth had proven they were not just invaders, they were destroyers, and humanity was fighting a war it had no chance of winning. Until now. With Dr. Reyes and General Malik's discovery of the ancient weapon beneath the ruined temple, Earth had one last card to play. The stone orb, now glowing with an intense, almost ethereal light, was in the hands of the Resistance, and it was more powerful than anyone could have imagined. But the world wasn't sure if it would be enough. Humanity's future was hanging by a thread. The power of defiance. General Malik stood at the command center, overlooking the global battlefield. Across the globe, resistance forces had gathered. Military personnel, civilians, anyone with the strength to fight. The world was united for the first time in history, and they were about to make their last stand. He looked to Dr. Reyes, who was standing by the device, her eyes fixed on the alien fleet hovering overhead. The orb was pulsing now, as though alive, reacting to the incoming threat. Humanity had no chance of winning a traditional war. Their weapons were useless against the alien ships. But the orb was something different. It was a force that transcended technology. It was an energy born of human spirit, the last remnants of Earth's survival instinct. Dr. Rice was confident in the orb's power, but she didn't know if it was enough. "General," she said, her voice steady but tinged with doubt, "this might work, but we don't know what it's capable of. The Xarnith are unlike anything we've ever faced." Malik gave her a grim nod. "We don't have a choice, Eva. We fight or we die. And we're not going down without a fight." The first strike. The alien fleet began its final approach, preparing for the complete annihilation of Earth's remaining defenses. Their weapons powered up, sending a shiver of fear down humanity's spine. The countdown to Earth's destruction was in its final seconds, and the Xarnith were preparing to unleash hell. Earth's resistance forces, though vastly outmatched, made one last desperate push. Fighter. The smoke from the battlefield still hung in the air as Earth's defenders stood victorious. But the cost had been high. The alien fleet had retreated, but the scars of the invasion were deeply etched across the planet. Cities lay in ruins, entire populations lost in a war humanity had never expected. The orb, once a mysterious relic, had proven itself to be Earth's greatest weapon. But now, Dr. Reyes knew that its power had a price. The energy it unleashed was immense, so much so that she feared it might burn out before they could fully understand its potential. She had felt the orb pulse through her veins, like an ancient wild force that couldn't be contained forever. General Malik stood beside her, eyes staring out over the ruins of what was once a vibrant city. The world was now a place of silence, save for the distant cries of the wounded and the hum of rebuilding efforts. Humanity had won the battle, but the war wasn't over. The Xarnith had been pushed back for now, but they were only one step behind. "We've bought ourselves some time, but they will come back," Malik said, his voice low, heavy with the weight of the world on his shoulders. "And next time, they'll be ready for us. We need to understand this weapon, Eva. The orb, it's not just power, it's something more." Dr. Reyes nodded. "I know. I just don't know what yet. But we'll find out. We have to." The Earth Council. In the wake of the battle, Earth's leaders convened in what was now called the Earth Council, a united assembly of world leaders from every surviving nation. For the first time in history, old boundaries had been erased, and humanity was working together as one. The destruction left by the Xarnith had forced the world to reevaluate everything. Every decision now mattered, and every move counted. The council chamber was filled with tense voices. Nations had suffered enormous losses, and now they looked to Dr. Rice for guidance. Her discovery of the orb had changed the course of the war, but no one understood it fully. If the Xarnith returned, when they returned, humanity would need more than just a single weapon. They needed a strategy, a plan that could protect Earth in the long run. "We cannot rely on this orb alone," one of the council members, a leader from a powerful nation, spoke out. "What happens when its power is gone? What do we do then?" Another voice chimed in. "The Xarnith will not stop until we're gone. We need a permanent solution, not just a temporary one." Dr. Reyes stepped forward, her eyes scanning the room. "The orb is only a part of the equation," she said calmly. "But it's more than a weapon. I believe the orb is a key to something much bigger. What we need to do now is understand its full potential. If we can harness its power, not just as a weapon but as a tool, we can build something that will defend us forever." The room grew quiet as the weight of her words settled in. A tool, not just for destruction, but for defense. If humanity could unlock the orb's true potential, they would be able to stand against anything the universe threw at them. But time was running out. They had only weeks, maybe days, before the Xarnith regrouped and launched another attack. Earth needed answers. Fast. The orb's secret. Back at the research facility, Dr. Rice and her team worked tirelessly to study the orb. The deeper they delved into its energy, the more they realized that it was not like anything they had ever encountered. The orb was linked to an ancient alien technology, but its true origin was still a mystery. Some of the symbols etched on its surface appeared to be from a language no human had ever seen before, yet somehow the orb seemed to resonate with humanity's energy. The scientists had found traces of a strange energy signature deep within the orb, a signal that appeared to be waiting for something. The orb pulsed in rhythmic intervals, as if reacting to a specific frequency, a frequency that Dr. Rice believed was linked to human emotion. As the team connected their devices to the orb, they realized the truth. The orb was not just a weapon, it was a bioreactive artifact. It fed off human willpower, human survival instincts. The more humanity fought, the more the orb powered up, feeding off the collective defiance that had propelled humanity through the darkest days of the invasion. But there was still one major puzzle. The orb's power was finite. It couldn't last forever. Dr. Rice had no idea how long it would take for the energy within the orb to deplete, or if there was a way to replenish it. The world was holding its breath. Dr. Rice and General Malik had made their way to the orb's containment chamber, now surrounded by Earth's brightest minds. The orb pulsed, its ethereal glow casting strange shadows in the dimly lit room. The energy within it was building to an unprecedented level, but time was running out. They had only hours, maybe less, before the Xarnith returned to claim their final victory. Dr. Rice stood at the center of the chamber, her eyes focused on the orb, feeling the raw power of it hum through the air. Beside her, General Malik stood vigilant, his face grim. "We need to be ready," Malik said, his voice firm. "Once we fire this thing, there's no turning back. Are we sure it will work?" Eva nodded. "The orb, it responds to the collective strength of humanity. Our will. We all have to believe that this is our last chance. If it doesn't work, we lose everything." The orb flared brighter, as if acknowledging her words. The energy crackled, resonating with an intensity that seemed to rattle the very air around them. It was humanity's hope, their final gambit. A new weapon unleashed. Outside the chamber, the world watched in silence. The orb, humanity's last defense, had been integrated into a massive interplanetary cannon, the Gaia cannon, which had been constructed in orbit around Earth. The weapon was ready. All they had to do was fire. The countdown was ticking. Every second felt like an eternity. Across Earth, every nation, every city, every human seemed to hold their breath in unison. For the first time in history, the entire planet was one, united by fear, hope, and determination. It was the will of the people that powered the orb, and now they were all relying on it. The final battle. Then the signal came. The Xarnith fleet had returned. Their ships appeared like dark stars, blotting out the sky as they emerged from the void of space, far larger than Earth had ever anticipated. Thousands of ships, each one a harbinger of destruction. The countdown had begun. Earth's forces, though still regrouping, had no intention of retreating. Fighters scrambled into the sky, preparing for one last desperate stand, while the resistance leaders, like General Malik, coordinated their forces on the ground. The air was thick with tension as the Xarnith ships began to position themselves for their final assault. The Xarnith had underestimated one thing: humanity's refusal to give up. The orb's true power. As the enemy drew closer, Dr. Rice activated the Gaia cannon. A sharp hum filled the chamber, and the orb reacted. Its glow intensified, and a beam of pure, unrelenting energy shot from its core into the cannon. The world trembled as the Gaia cannon powered up, glowing like the sun. The Xarnith fleet fired their weapons, launching missiles and energy blasts that could decimate cities in seconds. But the Gaia cannon wasn't just a weapon. It was a shield, one forged in humanity's defiance. As the first alien blast reached Earth's atmosphere, the cannon discharged a wave of energy so powerful it ripped through the Xarnith ships like they were made of paper. The first wave of alien ships was destroyed in a brilliant flash, disintegrating in mid-flight. The energy from the Gaia cannon continued to surge, shooting outward toward the remaining fleet, cutting through their shields and vaporizing entire fleets with every shot. The Xarnith were in chaos. They had never faced anything like this.